Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Dan.
What's going on, guys?
Good morning.
Oh, I got a minute. I left something in the truck. You guys hang out.
Okay.
Morning, Robin.
Good morning. Had to figure out where that button was again this morning. Gee whiz.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm okay. I'm excited. I'm gonna go meet Jacob over on Shannon Road. It's gonna take me a few minutes to get over there because I'm on the east side, but I'm excited. I'm finally doing something, you know?
Yeah. You go
And-
door knocking?
Yep. Gonna go do the door knocking thing. I'm gonna watch him and Nicole, I believe, is going with him. And then from there, hopefully I'll be able to put my own thing up and say, okay, I'm gonna do my neighborhood next. Who wants to come with me?
There you go.
Nice.
Which Nicole, not me.
I don't know which Nicole.
Oh, maybe someone different.
I thought it was you, but maybe not.
No, Nicole doesn't do anything fun.
Oh,
Aw.
that's not true.
I think Heather's showing up, and let me see who else. Francisco.
Cool.
Mike looks like a redneck tech guy from Silicon Valley right now.
How'd you guess? It was my disguise today.
I love it. Makes me want to shave my beard off and give you guys the most redneck goatee I can, but that's against my religion.
I don't know, Dan. It might be a new look for you.
There you go.
Try the new look. It didn't work. So I've stuck with the old school one for the last, 10 years.
So I'm in a predicament
Good.
where I'm actually considering denying a listing.
Okay, tell us about it.
I had this guy. He was referred to me by Tanya because obviously she didn't want to deal with it, and he has an acre in Catalina with 2 trailers on it.
Yep.
So I asked him to. He has 2 renters. I asked him to gain me access to the interior so that I could evaluate the trailers. And so he gives me the names and numbers of his renters, and I'm assuming that they know what's going on. So I called them up to make an appointment. The first guy I called was in the single wide. He's a 72-year-old man, and I am apparently breaking the news to him that the rental he's in is going up for sale, and he's devastated. I ended up on the phone with him for an hour and a half, consoling him about the fact that, well, 1, he has 6 dogs, and 2, he's a hoarder. He's got stuff everywhere. And it's going to take him, he said, at least 6 months to a year to find a place that would accept him in the conditions of his state. I met with both of the renters yesterday, and the only thing I could think of is to ask the seller for a lease for his renters. Both of the trailers are ran down. They're like 1972, and the guy's saying he wants $240,000 for it. It's like the market doesn't support that, but at the same time, if I was to list it for $240,000, it would protect his renters for the year they need to get out. How do I handle it?
Stormy.
I was gonna say that I think it's crazy you brought that subject up because I just had a listing appointment like that. And then after the listing appointment, in other words, it was a listing appointment that's occupied by a renter. So the seller, like the owner, wants to sell the house. And he kept complaining about not being able to get in the house, that he was afraid it was messed up. and etc. And so I offered to like go with him because he's an old man, and his fear was bigger than what it was. So the house was fine, but the fact is that there's a lease on the property, so the renter knows that he has to be out by a certain time, and that's in 3 months. So regardless of everything else, the renter has to get out in 3 months. So there might be a lease on the property, right? And then I look at it as an opportunity to turn a renter into some type of buyer. And that's what I did. So the following appointment was with the renter, and he's pre-qualified for a loan. So I wouldn't give up if I was you.
Neither one of these guys are pre-qual or capable of qualifying. The one is a 72-year-old man on a fixed income, and he has very poor credit because of what happened in 2008. He was actually buying land and subdividing it and was in several properties deep and lost them all. And he has no income other than Social Security, paying $500 a month rent. And the other guy has plans to move out of state in December, so he doesn't want to move and then have to move again. They're both on a month to month with no protection. And my heart is bleeding for this renter, especially the old man. I think that the younger renter, he's like in his mid 50s, I think he could handle it. But that old man, my heart is just bleeding for him. And
would that be an opportunity to, like, somebody that I think we were talking about yesterday about wholesaling, like buying the property as a wholesale and leave the wholesaler renting it?
Yes, that's what I think too. Is try to get the 50-year-old renter, well, actually, whoever buys it, make it a conditional buy that your younger renter stays until December.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what to do for the older gentleman. I really don't. I don't have a clue as to what to do with that one.
All right, pause. You can't make any sale conditional of anything unless there's a lease in place.
That's what I was suggesting, to get them into a lease.
Yeah, if the market doesn't support the sales price and it's grossly overpriced, walk away from the listing. It's not worth the headache. I know that we want to help people, we want to do things, but we've got to look at what is your time and effort. If you take a listing that is grossly overpriced, you're trying to sit in the yard for a year, what does that look like?
It's echoing a lot.
Yeah, it shows that you don't know your market.
Right. So what does the market show?
That he should probably be in at about 116,000.
So it's $100,000 overpriced.
Huh?
$100,000 overpriced.
Exactly. Because the two trailers are literally falling apart. I mean, he's lucky that the renters that he has in there are very tolerant, don't give a care type renters. We're talking about leaking roofs, paneling falling in one bedroom, a paneling coming off the side on the outside of the trailer. These are so old that they can't be moved. They have to be disassembled.
Yeah, so no, it's not worth it. An investor's going to want to buy the land for the land value, and that's it. So your valuation is to remove the units and the expense to do so. So, like you thought, it doesn't make sense.
No.
Is everybody else I'm having a lot of feedback or echoing.
Yeah, there's a lot of echo in dance. I don't know.
It's because somebody has their volume up. So if everybody muted, that would probably, unless you're talking just for a minute, that would probably fix it.
Right now. Better? It's Letha. Her computer echoes for some reason. We still love you, Letha. Don't worry. We've just had this happen a couple times, so I know who does what. Trust me, I watch your guys' screens to know where you're at, what you're doing. so that I know who's the culprit. So great point on that one. So when you're working with listings, and this is a great topic to touch in, it's the scripting element behind, hey, my house, I know the market's worth $200,000. I want $400,000, right? So the scripting element of that is, Mr. Seller, I completely understand that you want to get $200,000 out of your house. We can list it at that $220,000 price point. What happens when you don't get a single offer? What happens if the offers that you get are grossly underneath what you're asking for when they're in line with the market value? What happens if we go under contract and the appraisal comes back so much that the buyers aren't willing to move forward? What do you want to do then? Set up the expectation of failure in the end, right? When we have the conversation, what happens when, not what happens if, what happens when, it sets the tone that this will happen. Our mom and dad always told us, don't look like that, your face will stick, right? If you keep looking like that, it's going to stick. So as
It's
adults,
true. Look what happened.
happen, right? Same thing with your sellers. You can tell them what's going to happen. Yeah, we can list your house at that. This is what's going to happen. You're not going to get any views. You're not going to get any buyers. You're going to waste your time and money. If you guys go to a doctor, a dentist, and you start complaining about your foot, do you think they're going to help you? No, it's not their expertise. They're going to tell you, go find somebody who can help you, because you can't, as a real estate professional, help a seller that is unrealistic have a satisfactory condition, especially if you're 50% overpriced. So let's all ask that question. What happens when? I got 3 people doing it. Okay. What happens when you don't get an offer? You don't get any traffic. It doesn't appraise. Get in the habit of asking, what happens when? How are you going to feel when you don't have a single offer for 6 months, a year, 2 years? But then ask them, where did you find this valuation at? What made you choose that price? Find out the body of research that they have done. Maybe he knows there's a gold ore underneath one of the trailers, and you just have to dig it up. So ask good questions, uncover information that you can utilize in the conversation you're having.
My concern is more for the renter than the price. I can prove to him, I've got a listing packet. I can prove to him that his price is unrealistic. But what about that renter? Is it okay for me to ask him to lock him into a lease?
If you want to. Is the renter your client?
The renter is not my client. But like I said, my heart bleeds for this guy.
And I will tell you that in this business, it's good to have a bleeding heart. Unfortunately, sometimes you will bleed on the wrong people. I don't want you to be callous to calculate with your effort.
I think you really have to choose here if this is just something you can in your soul do, honestly. It sounds like that's your struggle to me.
Yeah.
And if you can't, then just walk away from it or refer them to somebody else.
Triple referral.
My question though is, like, Letha, have you ever written a lease agreement?
No, but I could
Then you probably shouldn't. Then you should.
No, I could
you probably-
print out a lease agreement and he could write it. Couldn't I?
No, my point is that if you haven't written a lease agreement, you should just leave it to people that do, because they're the experts of it, and then like maybe kind of shadow them and then follow them, and then you can learn for the next time, so that way you can be prepared to help someone that you feel bad for, like the way you are right now. That's it. You want to make sure people are taken care of, then you make sure that they go with people that know what they're doing, and if you haven't written a lease agreement, I wouldn't write one. I would maybe follow someone that does, or I don't know.
As a retail salesperson with this company, it is not advised that you dip your toe into property management. Either you're all in or you're all out. Don't be both.
Could I make a suggestion that he do it?
Yeah, you can tell your friend who's renting this house, it's probably a good idea that he gets a long-term lease. And why do we have long-term leases, people? Tell me. What happens when you sell a property with a lease?
It goes with the property you sold.
Well, I can't just cancel that lease?
No, it's a legal contract.
Why not? I bought the house. The lease was the last owner.
Yes, but you bought that house with a lease already in place. They have a contract with the person selling it, and that contract goes with the property when you sell it.
So I can't just cancel the lease?
No, you can't cancel the lease until the lease is up, and then you can cancel it.
Well, how do I get him out of the lease? I want to live in my property.
You wait. Or try and buy him out of the lease.
Okay. I'm glad you know all these things. All right, that was a great conversation to start with this morning, right? Helping renters, overpriced sellers. In this market, are you going to come across sellers that are just grossly overpriced? Let's work on that today. All right, who's next? Mike. Mike Whining. Mike, I know that you're telling me my house is worth $400,000. I'm going to get 6 out of it. There's no inventory.
Okay, well, I agree with you. There is no inventory, but could you share a little bit with me of how you come up with that number?
Well, my neighbor sold their house for $400,000. My house is nicer. I got a better view. I got a pool. There's no other houses in this neighborhood for sale. I think we can get 600,000.
Okay. Can you share with me your knowledge of the market at this time?
That's about it. I just know that there's no inventory and everything's selling super fast.
That is very true. That is going fast, but we have to listen to what the market is telling us. And the comps are showing that your home is worth 400,000 right now in this area based on the closing sale prices within the last 6 months.
Okay, what does that mean?
I don't know, Dan. I'm sorry.
Can you suggest like
I love. Go ahead, Frank. But I'm gonna tell you, Mike. I love the Tell me more about that. Would you let me in on how you got that? It was fantastic. Go ahead, Frank.
I'm thinking about 2 things. Like if he's if saying, okay, so this is better and then my neighbor's house, this other thing is a bit. Can you suggest have him if he's determined to put it for $600 and one, tell him, okay, we could list it at that price, but if we don't get any offers within a month, can we have something written which is we're gonna drive the price to this much, or have them actually pay for an appraisal.
Right.
Wouldn't it make it suspicious if it dropped though a lot to the buyers? They'd be like, why did it drop so much? What's wrong with the house?
Where would you see it drop at?
Oh, I meant if they actually did list it too high and then it dropped a lot, wouldn't that cause alarm to buyers?
Market correction never causes an alarm.
Oh.
Jacob, turn his camera on. He's now.
All right, restart the script from the beginning.
Jacob, I completely understand that you're saying that my house is worth $400,000. I believe we can get 6, and that's what I want to list it for because there's no inventory right now.
So you want to list your house for 600 when the market is telling you that your house is worth 400?
Yeah.
So what are you going to do when all your neighbors decide to put their house up for sale for 400 and they start selling their house within weeks or months, and you've been sitting on the market for a year, maybe 2 years with your house listed at 600,000? You're wasting time when you do that.
Okay.
What are you going to do when you don't get any offers on your house?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
So why don't we get together, we discuss the price, and I'll explain to you in more detail on why your house is worth 400 and not 600.
Okay, sounds good. Go for the appointment. I like
Good
it.
job, Jacob. Yay, Jacob.
Mikey, you blend the three of them together, right? Who wants to go? Lisa, you can't just put a half hand up. You got to go all in. All right. Go ahead, Miss Lisa.
So you're telling me that your neighbor sold their house for 400,000, but you have a pool and have done some upgrades, correct?
Correct. My house is very nice.
Well, I still don't believe that a $600,000 price tag would be supported by the market. I mean, we could possibly go up to 430, 450. But at the same time, if you tried to put it at 600,000 and by a miracle, somebody actually was interested at that price and was trying to get a loan on it, you're going to fail in the appraisal process because there's no comps to support the price.
What's a comp?
So the homes in your neighborhood and surrounding area that have sold for $400,000 is a comparable or a comp. And they are going to use those comparables in order to appraise your home. They will take into consideration the upgrades that you've done and the swimming pool. So they might support the higher than your neighbor price of 450, but they're not going to, there's nothing that will support a $600,000 price tag, even though our inventory is low at the moment.
Okay. Go for the close.
Okay, so would you agree with a $450,000 price tag? We can get this listing agreement signed and I can get your house sold fairly quick. I mean, because with the inventory, it's going to sit on the market very long with $600,000 price tag.
Stop you. Break script.
It's going to sit.
Stop. When you go for the close, ask a question and do what? Shut up.
Listen.
Yeah,
Listen.
you said, would you agree to a sales price of 450?
Would you agree?
Stop talking.
Would
Because you just kept going. I was ready to say something. You just kept going and going and going. The closing mechanics of anything is shut up and listen.
That's my hard thing to do, but I will practice.
I'm a babbler myself. You guys have known. But when you go for a close, shut up and listen. Create that negative space. Right? Who wants to go in for the close? Come on. We talked about the close yesterday. Robin, let's go for it.
Big Dan, it sounds like we should work together. Can sign here.
Boom. Boom. Simple, right? Doesn't have to be much. But here's what you can tell somebody that's trying to list their house too high, right? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I completely understand that you feel the value of your home is higher than that of your neighbors. I too believe my house is in a higher position than my neighbors because I've done a lot of work to it. Let's get together this weekend and check it out so we can see exactly what differs in your houses to the houses that have sold around you. When we get together, I'm going to show you all the information about the properties that have sold in your neighborhood that match your home that dictate the market value. And if we can agree on a price, would you be willing to sign your listing agreement today?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty perfect.
Notice what we talked the other day, we're talking about taking the jargon out of it, take real estate out of the conversation, make it understandable. We don't talk before you were licensed, did you ever use the word comp? No, because when you're talking, when they comp something, right? They comped you a free meal. They comped you a free room. Comp, it wasn't a valuation. We got to remember that these things don't translate. A comparative market analysis. What the fuck is that? Sorry. It's just saying I have pulled the information together on your neighborhood. That way people realize it's around my neighborhood, around your neighborhood of homes that have sold that are like yours. Oh, well, I can't use the mansion on the hill that's 6 miles away. I can see it. It has to be a comparative. No. All right. So let's do it again. I'm an unrealistic seller. Trisha, what do you got?
Hey, Dan. Dan, when you said, I got a beautiful home, the first thing that jumped into my mind is, gosh, I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, I'd like to see it, hopefully cut to the chase and let me get in front of them.
Hey, get to the appointment. You're not trying to sell the house over the phone. You're trying to sell the appointment. That's why I said, hey, let's get together. You can show me what's different. And people are like, okay, yeah, I'll show you what's up. This is my barbecue pit. This is my giant double-sided refrigerator. This is the golden statue of Hercules. It's pretty nice. All right, someone else. We got some time for another round. Let's go. I can only wait for 3 more seconds before I call on somebody. 2, 1. Stormy, let's hear yours.
Oh man, I don't have anything.
Well, you've heard a couple so far. Let's just string one together.
Okay, well then it's gonna be the same thing that you just used. All right, Mr. Seller. All right, Mr. Big Dan, let me tell you what I can do for you. I can meet you up at your house tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I have a list of homes that are in your neighborhood that we can view. That way you can compare them to your home. I know you say your home is worth 500, although I'm telling you it probably would sell for 420. Are you okay with that?
No, Stormy, I told you I want to get 600 out of it. There's no inventory in the market.
Okay, no, that's fine. You told me 500, so now you think it's worth 600.
Oh, the wife must have said 5. I've always said 6.
Okay, well, still, we can do the same thing. We can compare every home in your neighborhood to your home and see what you think after that. Can we meet at 10 tomorrow?
I don't know if I got time around 10 tomorrow, man.
Well, that's fine, Mr. Big Dan. You must be not motivated to make money like you told me before then, right?
I like you, Stormy. I like you. I'll see you tomorrow. You guys picking up the gist of things? Don't be afraid of sellers. We're not in the business. It's kind of a bad jab. In the car business, we used to call them Honda salespeople. They're order takers. Didn't know how to close a door. All they would do is take your order, take it to the desk and say, this is what they'd like to do, please. We're not order takers. We're professionals. We're highly skilled, highly educated, highly motivated to help the public make the right decisions. And able to do so is by educating. So we got to educate people. Yes, Ms. Beebe.
Yes, I have a question about that. So if he says he wants 500,000 and it's probably worth 425, you're telling him 425. In this market right now, where people are putting in multiple offers, isn't it possible that he can even get kind of close to what he wants?
Well, that's actually a great second leg of the conversation. Once you get in the door and have the appointment, Beebe, you can sit him down and say, Miss Beebe, I completely understand you guys are thinking the home value at 500,000. I can see that you have a beautiful home and has some amazing upgrades in it. You are right. Your house does stand apart from those in the neighborhood. And based on that information, I believe that we can get some multiple offers and it may drive the price up a little higher to where you're looking for. Now, there's 3 ways to price a house. One, we can price it at your target price, pricing it above market in the event that we get one buyer or that needle in the haystack that comes in and says, this is the perfect house. I don't care what the price is. I'm going to pay cash for it. We can price it at market, being that we're going to get about 40% or maybe 30% of the buying pool coming in and looking at it because the inventory is so low. Or we can price it right below market and have ourselves a feeding frenzy, which will inevitably jack that price up towards your net goal. How would you like to accomplish this?
The latter. Sign here. I'll sign. Where?
You see how you do that, maybe as you go from when you're in the door and you're talking, have that conversation, you're trying to peel them off of that unrealistic value. But you're right. In this market, we could potentially see a price war getting us closer to that end point. If the neighbor's house sold at 400, there's one on the market right now for 415. It doesn't have the marble statue and the Greek fireplace or the Olympic swimming pool. We can say these are all valuations and we can price ourselves maybe at 430, 450, 460, which would be enticing because the neighborhood would support it to a point. And then we would hope to bring in enough volume and value that we would increase our biddings to get to 470, 480, 490, 500. Pricing it at 500 in a $400,000 market will completely ring your bell and no one's going to come looking.
I remember last week, someone said they had like 16 offers on home. What are they doing?
You're cutting out a little bit.
I mean, they're
Is it me?
just going up and up. Right?
She's cutting off.
Yeah, it's cut out.
Ms. Beebe, I apologize. You're cutting out. All we heard is 16 offers.
Yeah, my internet is.
Are you back
Can you
with us?
hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so last week I remember that someone said they had 16 offers on a home. So what are they doing? I mean, with those 16 offers, they're just going, higher and higher, right?
Well, not always. We don't, most offers don't know what the other offer sets are. So you can have kid if it's listed at 400,000, you may get 16 offers in between 390 and 410. Just varying degrees of offer. Some have escalation clauses which incrementally increase over the next best offer, which increases the volatility of your deal. But being able to jack that price point up, we don't know what those offers are going to bring. I had a property listed at 189. This is right when COVID hit. We got 12 offers anywhere from 170 to 212. And they actually accepted an offer at 195 because it was a cash offer. We didn't think we'd have we knew the appraisal wouldn't match 210, 207,000. So that was out. But that was me educating them saying, listen, this is what's sold in your neighborhood. We are stretching to get it to 180, 190 because the houses around here sold at 160. You can stretch, but we can't rip. So awesome, guys. It is 8:30. It is Thursday, February 4th, the 4th of February, which means that today is the beautiful day to get out there and get a listing. I have a feeling one of you is going to get a listing today. Just saying. This feels right in my soul, in my heart. Maybe 3 of you. That'd be great. Other than that,
All 4 of us are going door knocking.
go door knocking, get some leads. So Ignite starts at 9 a.m. Having some great conversations today about some seller stuff. You're going to love it. Do not miss it. Matt Beret, the British version of me. He really is. Fantastic teacher. And then tomorrow they're doing a live/Zoom Ignite class with Anthony Sotelo doing buyer consultations here at the KLP office. So if you can make it, come in, be a part of the live class, or if you can do it telecommuted through Zoom, he's going to be going over what he does in his buyer books and what he does in his buyer presentation stuff. So it's going to be a great class. Don't miss it. If you're an Ignite or not, does not matter. You can join in. Have yourselves a wonderful day, guys. We'll talk soon.